There we go. So, you can hear us? Excellent. Hello and welcome everyone, and welcome to our presentation today about the PE season from Chalmers team. My name is Niels, and this is Anton. So the agenda for today, so we'll discuss a little bit about the PE season, so more or less the last 2 years, our main phases we've had, as well as talking about the competitions that we've gone to, and a little bit about our journey more or less and what we've learned on the way. If you saw our design reveal, then you know that we had a pre-study phase. In this pre-study phase, we took the new rules that we were given by Virtual World Solar Challenge, and we looked at different concepts that we evaluated. New for this season was that they are now allowing 3-wheelers. This is really interesting, as before you've only been allowed to have 4 more wheels. This opened up to many new concepts. For example, the concept we ended up with was the tadpole, but we evaluated a lot of other concepts like catamaran in different styles and such. After eliminating the worst possibilities, the worst configurations, this is what we ended up with.
As all of you who were at the design wheel know, we designed the car. And this essentially entails many long hours, long nights, working in CAD and other design programs to refine all the details of the car so that we have all the various thoughts and processes designed for the start of manufacturing. A little wrinkle in this year's design phase is that about halfway through designing the car, we found out the competition we were going to wasn't going to happen, which of course threw a wrench in the works, but we adapted and we, as you all know, ended up competing. There is different regulations for the different competitions. We first designed our car according to regulations for competing in Australia. However, we later ended up competing in Morocco and Belgium, which wasn't initially planned. So we had to make some on-the-fly tweaks in order to have our car be compliant with the rules in these different places. Additionally, driving in Australia and driving in Morocco aren't quite the same. In Australia, it's long, straight, more flat roads, whereas in Morocco, it's very windy, very hilly and mountainous, which makes for a totally different challenge.
After the design phase, and really the last time we spoke to you guys, we went into the manufacturing phase. This is the most intense phase, I would say, as there are a lot of things that need to be done and a lot of things that need to actually become real, more or less. So there's a lot of hours spent in the machining shop by a lot of the guys and girls in the team. But it's not only mechanical, it's also electrical. You can see here on some of the photos the things we've done. You can see me here, for example, putting in each battery cell into our battery and then hand welding it. We have the composites as well, and a lot of hours spent in the composite labs. We used nature fiber instead of using carbon fiber, which was unique for us in the competition. We also painted the car ourselves, manufactured every these small brackets and electrical systems, screens, buttons, PCBs. Yeah, it was a really intense and really big and really long manufacturing phase, but we were really happy with the end result, as you can see here. And then, of course, testing phase. So the testing phase, we opted to try to build a rolling chassis as fast as possible. And this was due so we could start testing the electrical system and also start testing some of the vehicle dynamics. Here you can see us actually doing some of the early testing. As I say, rolling chassis, so that's the type frame that we have, the tube frame. And then testing out some of the, most of the mechanical bearing parts of the steering, for example. This is really good as we are in the early stages found things that probably would have broken in Morocco or somewhere else. And here we can find that early on and change it. And we did find some things here and we changed them and went back to the workshop and redesigned and such. So it's a really important stage to really be able to be confident going through competitions.
And we, of course, have to thank our sponsors, Stora Holm, letting us use their facility to test our car and to find these faults with the car. Now on to this season's competitions. So the first competition of the year was a Swedish championship. We organized a competition with Halmstad to have a race at Anderstorp this year. And this year we came out as Swedish champions. Unfortunately, Halmstad had some technical issues with their car, but we were able to drive the course, and it was a great learning experience and team building experience for the later competitions that we can, such as Belgium and Morocco. Now, the first major competition that we entered that was international was the European Solar Challenge. In this competition, you drive on the Solder racetrack in Belgium for 24 hours, and you try to complete the furthest distance you can under this time. This year, we exceeded all our expectations. We were able to drive over 200 laps and over 900 kilometers, which is way more than we were expecting, and was a huge confidence boost before the Moroccan competition. We, of course, had some tweaks that we had to work out before leaving for Morocco, but we learned a huge amount during this competition and, of course, had a great time.
Yes, and then, of course, we had our main event, or our main competition for this year. So the Solar Challenge in Morocco was to replace, for us at least, the Australian Solar Challenge. And it was quite a journey, I would say, quite a competition, and quite a challenge overall. So there were some big points that were different. Like Anton mentioned, the terrain was very, very different compared to what we were used to in Australia. But for example, the altitude,
yeah,
stuff like that.
I think one of the days we climbed almost 2,000 meters of altitude, which is a huge amount for an efficient electric car.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, but also it was the first time that this competition was being held. So there were a lot of challenges with the regulations and how it should be run. It was also run in a different manner than usual. As it wasn't first down, it was more sort of like a rally where you have to just everyone starts from the same point every day and ends up at the same point every night. And then there's the time between there that you accumulate over the competition and then sum up at the end. But also, so it was a bit of difficult to also get down to Morocco, as you all know that COVID has also thrown a couple of curveballs our way. Luckily, we did get them on a ferry in France. We had some of our team members actually drive down with the car in this airplane trailer, as you can see, all the way down to Morocco through Europe. And you can actually see the ferry engine here on the right as well, picked by our mechanical team that got a private tour.
Yeah.
But so the logistics have been very, very, very difficult as well to plan everything. And one day you're not allowed into Morocco, and the next day you are, and it was a very big challenge overall, trying to plan that out.
Yeah. Then a little more on the actual competition. So as we're driving on normal roads in fairly difficult road conditions, where there's a lot of unpredictable drivers and unpredictable road conditions, we drive in a convoy where the solar car has a lead car in front of it and a follow car behind it. Now, these cars are essential to the driving and success in a competition. In the lead car, which you see a picture from, is where we had all our strategy and driver communications based out of. We had a driver, we had a passenger in the front seat where I sat, who was constantly talking to the drivers. And there were stretches of road where I was on the radio so much so, where it would have been more efficient to call out where there weren't potholes, just to make it easier on the driver. And then, of course, we had our strategy and tactics people who were calculating the optimum speed, the energy left, how much energy we were getting for the sun, all to determine the most efficient way and the way we could complete the stage the fastest. Now, being Morocco, this was a really big adventure. It was the Atlas Mountains, the Sahara Desert, various camels, adverse driving conditions, early mornings, and some less beautiful aspects like food poisonings, sandstorms, and all of that, which we had to contend with during this competition. But it was a great journey and an amazing experience for all of us that were able to participate.
Yeah, and also as Anton was saying, it was really, really interesting to see this totally different climate. It was really fun to compete somewhere else. In Australia, it was the road conditions and the towns was a very big thing that we had not predicted in such a way. Just people being on the streets, having markets and school children running around on the roads. It's a very different type of road conditions, so to say, in Morocco compared to Australia, where it's just a highway and you just go all the way down.
I mean, one of the unexpected challenges was on day 4, we encountered heavy rain during the night, which meant during the next day, there was actually water flowing over the road in various locations. And that's something fairly unexpected for driving through the Sahara Desert, that the car would have to wade up to 5-10 centimeters of standing water.
Sure. So how did the race go? Well, so the race, the first day we climbed the Atlas Mountains. Sadly, we had quite bad luck with the weather, or everyone had bad luck with the weather, where we got very little solar radiance. So our power intake was very, very low. And so at the end of the day, or near the end of the day, we had to retire the car for that day and start trailering. There is one thing that is very different though, this race compared to like the Australian race, is that if you start trailering, you are not out of the race, but you are still allowed to continue driving the next day and continue driving and getting kilometers as points, more or less. So that's what we continued to do the next day. We charged. Sadly, day 2, we also had some technical issues with one of our BMS units, or battery management units. But anyway, day 3 went a lot smoother. We drove quite a bit and charged quite a bit, even day 4 as well. So by then, there were only 3 cars left in the main competition. So the main, as they haven't trailer at all. They were only going on solar power still. So half of the teams had already had to trailer due to the harsh conditions and the Atlas Mountains and so forth.
But night day 4 is when disaster struck really for our team. At least half of our team came down with some degree of food poisoning after a very tough night, which means day 4 went a little different than planned.
For sure.
Both of our drivers were totally out, so I had to step in to take a bit of that stage. And also our strategy and safety officers, they were champions. They powered through the sickness, but it took a huge toll and made everything that much more challenging.
Especially also because we are quite a small team, and we didn't losing so many people in the food poisoning became very apparent very quick how few we actually are. But it was we did get through that day, and we went to the 5th day, where we tried to plan to have one last day of just going with solar power. Sadly, we made it about halfway across the Atlas Mountains, and then the final peak, the battery was just too low. So from there we trailered back, and we did drive over the finish line as well, which was really, really fun. And I think when we all came to the finish line, we were all very happy we had survived, and we had and everybody was not completely feeling too bad, at least at this point. And what a journey we had.
Indeed.
Yeah. Yeah, so 2 years of a lot of hard work and a lot of new friends and a lot of new experiences overall. And as you can see here, our team manager receiving a prize from the competition as well, and also the 6 cars that competed in the Moroccan Silver Challenge. And yeah. It's hard to look back at these last 2 years, how much time we put into this project and everything, because it's Solar Team has become a part of your everyday life, more or less.
Yeah.
And I think none of us really have fully recovered from the adventure, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, that said, I think all of us looking forward to the next adventure.
Yeah,
which of course brings us to our future plans and what we want to do in the next season. Essentially, at this stage, we're recruiting new members so that we can form a team to compete in future competitions. We are looking to compete in the 2022 High Lumen Solar Challenge in Belgium that we competed in this year, and the Bridgestone World Solar Challenge in Australia in 2023. We're designing a brand new car so that it will be completely redesigned from the ground up using everything we've learned this season and all the evolving technologies just to build a better and more efficient car.
Yeah, so some of the things that we already evaluating from the previous years and also from this car is higher efficiency drivetrain, more work into vehicle dynamics, more work into model verification, as well as improve aerodynamics. And there's a lot of things that we already know after
Yeah.
building this car and testing it in the real world. We already know so many things that we know that we can do better, and we want to do better.
Yeah, exactly. Looking forward to better telemetry, a new battery, hopefully with more capacity, new way to control that battery, and generally using better data analytics to make us more efficient and more competitive.
So yeah, as Anton said, our main goals are so next year Ilumen and then Bridgestone the year after that. Bridgestone is in Australia then, of course, and Ilumen is in Belgium.
Yeah, we will be taking this first year to see what really we can do. Use our old car as a test bed for new ideas and further innovation, testing that at Belgium, and then using that in our new car for Australia.
So, of course, we want to thank all our sponsors that have given us the possibility to do this. Really, extremely big thank you for everybody that's helped us in this last 2 years in any way that you've helped us.
We absolutely couldn't have done it without our sponsors.
No way.
Hugely reliant on them. So it is a massive heartfelt thank you to all of our sponsors.
Really. And we are a low budget team compared to many of the other high performing teams as well. And so every crown and every dollar and every component that we have received,
every hour, every part, it makes a huge difference to our team.
Yeah, and also just having somebody to talk to and discuss new ideas and stuff like that has been massive help.
Yeah,
and of course also families and friends of all the team members. There have been a lot of late nights in the workshops and a lot of hours away from the families and friends. And of course, thank you to Chalmers. We are at Chalmers right now at Lindholmen. But huge thank you to all of Chalmers, specifically to Jan and Sven, I would say.
Yeah.
But also a lot of different professors and people that work here as well, that allow us to do this project more or less in their place. And like I said, everybody that's somehow followed our journey or helped in any way or just supported us.
Yeah, cheered us along. I mean, that's always nice to know that we have that support in the early hours of the morning designing a car.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so for new recruits, you could go into the Facebook link, or the link that's on Facebook more or less, and you can apply already today. And we will have a recruitment process now next coming months. And we're always looking for new business partners and new sponsor partners with different kinds. So if you have some student that's going to Chalmers now that you think of, this person should definitely join Solidus team, please send the link and help us with recruitment.
Yeah, we look forward to working with our current sponsors again for the next car, improving this one, building the next one. So we absolutely must have you for the new car. We look forward to working with you and hopefully developing new innovative and exciting technologies.
And so we are active on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and we're also looking to update our website during this week. Thank you very much for joining our little presentation, and we will see you sometime in the future, I hope.
Yeah.